All right, so continuing on with operations involving signed numbers, now we'll look at multiplication and division. So multiplication and division of signed numbers. Multiplication and division of two numbers of the same sign results in a positive value. So here's an example. If I have positive 4 multiplied by positive 2, and I'm just putting in the positives because I want to express that they are both the same sign and don't want that to be overlooked, is positive 8. And that's something everybody has always done and is used to, right? Also of negative signs. So negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8 as well. These are multiplication of two numbers of the same sign. We get a positive result. Let's look at division. 16, positive 16 divided by positive 8 is positive 2. Both positive values in the quotient and the result is positive. And same with two negatives. So negative 10 divided by negative 5 is positive 2. Both numbers have the same sign in the quotient. The result is positive. Okay, now multiplication and division of two numbers of different signs will result in a negative value. So here are some examples. Positive 5 multiplied by negative 3. We have a positive multiplied by a negative. The result is negative 15. Or the other way around, it doesn't matter what order these are done in, because remember that multiplication is commutative. So I could say negative 5 multiplied by positive 3, negative 15. It doesn't matter which value is negative. As long as they are not the same sign, the result will be negative. Positive 12 divided by negative 4. We have a positive divided by a negative. They are different signs. The result is negative. And a negative value divided by a positive value. Opposite signs, the result is negative. All right? So multiplication and division of signed numbers. Make sure you are confident with that process. All right, next we want to take a look at order of operations, otherwise known quickly to keep us on check is BEDMAS. So the B stands for brackets, E for exponents, D division, M multiplication, A addition, and S for subtraction. And so this gives us a certain order we should be working in. So first of all, we should be doing specific groupings first. That is brackets or absolute values. Anything in an expression or an equation that has brackets or absolute values should be worked on first. Then move on to evaluating any exponents, roots, or radicals. Once those are completed, then we can do multiplication and division, whichever comes first, working left to right. And lastly, addition and subtraction, whichever comes first, working left to right. So let's take a look at some examples. I'm going to write down some examples over here. So how about minus 20 over 4 plus 2 subtract 4 times negative 2. All right, we have a number of different operations going on here. We don't have any brackets, and we don't have any exponents or roots or radicals, so we don't have to worry about those first. So we're really not concerned with these two, but we do have multiplication and division and addition and subtraction, so we should do them in the correct order. I should take care of any multiplication and division first. So what I'm going to do is just say, well, there, we have a division there, we have a multiplication there. So we should do those two first. So negative 20 divided by 4 is negative 5. We're not doing anything with this plus 2 yet. Subtract, and we should then figure out what this product is. It is 4 multiplied by -2, which is -8. All right, we have taken care of all multiplication and division. Now notice I have got just addition and subtraction. So this becomes -5 plus 2, and subtracting a negative is adding a positive. So -5 plus 2, that gets me to -3. And -3 plus 8 is +5. So there's an example of working through order of operations. I have another one. What about 6 subtract 2 multiplied by 4 plus 3? Here we do have some brackets or specific groupings, so those should be dealt with first. So nothing happens here. 6 subtract 2 multiplied by 7. We don't have any exponents or roots and radicals, so we can ignore that part. Next, we have to work on any multiplication and division. I do have some multiplication right there, so that should be next. 6 subtract 2 times 7 is 14. And 6 subtract 14 is -8. So those are complete. All right. Okay, last we want to take a look at operations with 0. Adding or subtracting 0 doesn't change a value, and so that's probably pretty obvious. 5 plus 0 equals 5. The 0 doesn't change it. 6 subtract 0 is still 6. So addition and subtraction of 0 doesn't change a value. Multiplication by 0 equals 0. So that's, you've probably seen too. 8 times 0 is equal to 0. Division of 0 and division by 0. So division of 0. This means 0 divided by a number. So that might look like this, right? 0 divided by anything is still 0. And one way to look at that is, if I've got 0 pizzas and I divide it in 2, I still have 0 pizzas. So that's just one way to think about it. And lastly, division by 0. Division by 0 is undefined. There isn't a number that exists to represent what happens when we divide by 0. So that would look like this, 10 divided by 0. In other words, 10 over 0. A denominator cannot be 0. This is undefined. We don't have a number to represent that. Okay, so that's the end of 1.2. Now I'm going to make a suggestion, homework. And these are really just suggestions for you. I don't check them. It's just something that I think you should have a look at. If you want to take a look at exercises 1.2, you may want to focus on 5 to 43, odd numbers only. The answers to the odds are in the back of your book. Now that's a lot of questions, so you can be choosy in that case, but really just take a look through, practice the ones that you think you need to practice, all right? And that's all up to you. If you have questions, feel free to bring them to class, and I will certainly try to clarify them for you there, or send me a message to ask about that. All right, thanks for your time. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you in class.